Well, hi. So I'm Sheffra, and I said in an earlier video that I would tell you a story about this amazing experience that I had with a client of a home care company. So I pitched a home care company about interviewing their customers to find out how much more was being made possible for that customer as a result of their services. And they said, yes, sounds good. And so I did that, and I made the calls, and I have a script and a process, and it's all laid out, and nothing for the owner to think about except just to be the recipient of all this goodwill. And so I had a list of customers to call, and there was also the understanding that if I run into someone who is not happy, someone that's upset about anything, that within 48 hours, the owner will call and make it right. Yeah. So the one that was identified as the number one customer for the company is who I call initially. And that particular person said, and I introduced myself and said what I was there to do, and the person said, well, but what about? And he spewed out the story of difficulty and angst, not the good story. But that was okay, because better that he say that and get solution, because he or she knows that they're being heard, than for that person to go away and not have resolution and not give the organization an opportunity to make it right, because they didn't know the extent to which the behavior of a particular employee was causing great stress. Had no idea, and neither did the employee. And so I have the skill as a facilitator to explain the process and honor that person's feelings. And I explained the agreement. And sure enough, the owner called. Now, this is the story that he told me, because just looking at it, it would seem, well, they're a minute late, 2 minutes late, or whatever. Is that such a big deal? He had actually complained about it, but he didn't say that the person being late prevented his awe and wonder. That small amount that he was getting in his life, because his wife had dementia and she had been an artist, and they had hopes and dreams, and he'd seen it fade with her dementia. And he's seen this artist become this mute, no longer painting, no longer the beautiful woman that he had hoped to be with for the rest of his life. And he had experienced being able to leave at least once a week to go and do the science that he used to do with buddies out on the ocean. And that was his one day of awe and wonder. And when the employee would be late, even if it was 5 minutes, right, he'd miss the boat that would take him and his buddies on the ocean, where he got to do some more science. So, and the science was, and the ocean was awe and wonder for him. So it was a big deal. But had he explained all that? No. Oftentimes clients don't want to be bothered with trying to explain things. They don't want conflict. What they'll do is slow pay, and then maybe no pay, and then disappear, and you never hear from them again. They also know each other, and they know friends. They know people involved in the industry. They know social workers and referral organizations and referral people and consultants that actually help people find placement, right? And so they will go off and talk about the pain that was caused by that behavior. And referrals are important in the home care industry, right? that referral resource dries up, especially if it's a hospital or social services agency or community group, that could be the difference between, surviving and thriving in your industry. So he shared with me the story of what it meant. And I guaranteed him that this would be fixed. And by the way, after that guarantee, he began to think about the good things that had happened. And this is the story that would have been left buried in the dirt had I not come and had the owner not valued enough the awe and wonder of her customers and the tagline about "will you make more possible for you?" to ask me to do this, be willing for that to be done. So this is the story he told me. He said that one day he came home from his trip on the ocean, and his wife wasn't in the usual place with the caregiver. She wasn't inside the house, and so he went outside, and there was a sort of a long walkway. There was an area where, towards the back of the house, where his wife used to paint. And as he walked, he could hear conversation, and it was the caregiver who, based on her own inclination of what was right and appropriate at that moment, had taken his wife, provided her with easels and paint. Her hair was all done up. She had some makeup on. Not that that was necessary, but it was like the good old days. And there she was painting again. That customer said that was awe and wonder in his heart. And it made him grateful. It made him so appreciative because that employee didn't have to do that. But she was in tune enough to do that. And it brought him such delight. It moved him. So you can see why he was frustrated if he didn't get to go out in the ocean, because he didn't have that with his wife. So 2 things got saved that day. The integrity of the company. The owner's promise to make it right within 48 hours. And she did. In fact, when I mentioned she would be calling, he went, she's going to call? Whoa. He's used to talking to, people, not the owner. And the other thing that got saved was his memory of beauty and his wife. I look forward to transforming your customers into a hallelujah chorus to tell the story of the awe and wonder you've made possible in their lives. Thank you for listening. Call me, 714-328-7343. Look forward to speaking with you.